The Mercedes-Benz GLC has been a top choice in the small luxury SUV category since it was first known as the GLK. In 2023, the GLC class got a complete makeover, though it might look more like a big update at first. Mercedes-Benz didn't change a lot from one version to the next, but because the previous model was still really good, maybe just making it better was the right approach. However, before we begin our video, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon. Let's get started. In 2024, the GLC Coupe style gets a complete makeover. Just like the SUV version did in the previous year, the older coupe was available at the same time as the new SUV with a longer roof in 2023. Similar to the SUV, the changes between the older and newer coupe are not very big. The front headlights and air intakes have been slightly adjusted, and the back of the car is a little less round, with a more noticeable raised spoiler. Even though these changes are quite small, the new and more angled back of the car looks better for sure. Inside the GLC 304 Matic Coupe's engine compartment, you'll find the same type of engine as the regular GLC. It's a 2.0-liter turbocharged four-cylinder with a mild hybrid system that has a 48-volt battery. This engine can produce 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of twisting force. The power from the engine goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission to all four wheels. According to Mercedes, this car can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6.2 seconds. That's a bit slower compared to the BMW X4 xDrive 30i, which takes 6.0 seconds, and the Audi Q5 Sportback, which takes 5.7 seconds. We took a European version of the GLC Coupe for a test drive in the stunning Tyrolean Alps near Innsbruck, Austria. Our test car had special features like an adjustable air suspension and rear-wheel steering. However, these won't be available in the United States, at least not in the beginning. Mercedes says that the American version will have a suspension that feels similar to the regular comfort mode of the air suspension. Our colleague Joel Stocksdale didn't like how the GLC SUV with 20-inch wheels felt on the roads in Michigan. But here in Austria, with different roads and suspension, there's nothing new to add or change for now. Getting up to highway speeds is pretty easy, even on the short lanes where you join the highway in Austria. The gear shifts feel pretty smooth, but the engine makes quite a loud sound when you press the gas pedal. Once you're going fast, the inside of the car stays pleasantly quiet. Even at 80 miles per hour, you can hardly hear any noise from the road or the wind. The way the car handles is also quite good, although it's not super sporty. When you turn the car, it doesn't lean too much, and the GLC Coupe feels solidly connected to the road. We think that in the future, there might be some sportier versions called AMG, but for most people, this regular version of the car works really well. Racing confidently around sharp turns, the GLC Coupe remains steady when you brake forcefully, although there's a noticeable dipping of the front. The steering feels right as the compact SUV smoothly enters the curve and accurately follows the path you want. When you gently accelerate again, the GLC comfortably returns to a stable condition without any excitement. Even though the GLC 300 is skilled, it doesn't make you want to drive fast like a BMW would. This shows that Mercedes is really good at making comfortable and polished cars, and they've done a great job with the GLC. There are big differences in the new GLC Coupe's interior. Just like the older version, the inside design looks almost the same as the C-Class sedan. There's a curved dashboard that flows nicely into the center console. In our version, the console has a shiny carbon fiber look that might be used in sportier AMG versions later on. But for the models that aren't as sporty, like the GLC 300, using natural wood makes the cabin cozier and more luxurious. Right in the middle of the dashboard, there's a big 11.9-inch touchscreen for the infotainment system. It's larger than the one before, but it's placed lower on the dashboard and not as easy for the driver to see. This can make it more distracting to use, especially since there are fewer physical buttons. The buttons that are there are a mix of push buttons and touch-sensitive areas, but they're not as simple to use as the regular switches or buttons in the older GLC model. To give Mercedes credit, they've organized the screen layout well, with climate and audio controls always at the bottom of the display, so they're easier to find and use. Right behind the steering wheel, there's a flat digital panel that shows important information. You can also choose to have a special display that shows useful info on the windshield, which is a good idea because the main screen for information is a bit distracting. Overall, the system that shows information is well set up and simple to use. It also has really good voice controls, which are some of the best in the business. These voice controls can help you avoid looking through lots of menus to change settings. The stuff they used in the car is really good, and it's hard to tell if the leather is real or fake. You can change the shiny black part in the middle for different types of wood if you want. Inside, the car feels strong and solid, and there are no creaking noises. The seats at the front are really comfy for long trips, and even after many hours of driving, we didn't feel any uncomfortable spots. They have built-in heating, and you can choose to get seats that let air flow through them, which is nice. However, there isn't a massage feature. In the back of the coupe, the seats can fit adults well, and there's enough space for their heads and legs. It's not as roomy as the regular GLC, and because the windows are smaller, it might feel a bit snug, but there's still more space than you'd think. According to Mercedes, the GLC coupe can hold up to 19.2 cubic feet of stuff behind the back seats. That's a bit more than before and only a bit less than the regular GLC, which is bigger. It's important to know that these measurements go only to the bottom of the back window, not all the way to the roof like most other cars do. That's why it might seem like the GLC has less space than similar SUVs. We noticed this when we tested the luggage space in the older GLC model. Anyway, the space should be good for a weekend trip, for a couple, or a small family. The back window in the coupe is smaller, so you won't see as much out of it. Because of this, we suggest getting the camera system that shows all around the car to help you park in tight spots. Just like the regular GLC, this 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 coupe has some improvements, but it's a bit worse in a few ways too. Overall, it still keeps its focus on being comfy and luxurious rather than super sporty. Luckily, this new GLC coupe manages to give up a little less space and flexibility that's usually lost in SUVs with a coupe-like shape. However, even with these improvements, we're not completely sold on the idea. And we're not alone. Most people prefer the regular SUV style when there's also a coupe version available. Since there aren't many big changes, other cars might have a chance to become better than the GLC if they're not better already. The controls inside and the screen for information might also be reasons why some people wouldn't choose it. It's a good idea to not choose big wheels as well. If you're thinking about the coupe version, it might be best to wait until Mercedes makes a faster AMG model to match its sporty look, but that would be for a smaller group of people. The 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 coupe, similar to its regular GLC counterpart, showcases certain enhancements while also exhibiting a few areas of decline. Its primary emphasis remains on offering comfort and opulence as opposed to an overtly athletic demeanor. Fortunately, this fresh iteration of the GLC coupe manages to retain a greater degree of spatial capacity and adaptability, a feature often compromised in SUVs characterized by a coupe-like configuration. Nevertheless, even with these enhancements, the notion of opting for this variant doesn't garner unanimous approval. This sentiment is shared as a significant number of individuals exhibit a preference for the conventional SUV style, particularly when a coupe rendition is concurrently available. Given the relatively minor alterations introduced, other automobile models stand the chance to outshine the GLC, unless they have already accomplished this feat. The internal controls and the informational display screen may potentially contribute to the rationale behind certain individuals eschewing this option. Similarly, the choice of larger wheels might not be the most prudent. For those contemplating the coupe iteration, it might be judicious to await the introduction of a swifter AMG model by Mercedes, one that aligns more cohesively with its sporty aesthetics. However, it's important to note that such an offering would likely cater to a more limited demographic. That's it for today. We hope you found our video interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads. In the end, thanks for watching and see you next time.